We've got a little bit of an issue, more than a little bit of an issue. I messed up and broke the skid steer. Okay, so we've picked up our woven polypropylene stabilization, driveway stabilization fabric, and I just dropped that off. I dropped that off at the front of the property and then now roughly 300 feet up the driveway. And so let me show you what this is. So it's a little thinner than I had expected it to be, but it's a 200-pound weight woven polypropylene. You can see the weave there. And what the weave does is it's going to allow moisture to pass through, transfer through. Not a lot, but there's some, I don't know if I stick my flashlight behind it. This is going to be not the best demonstration, but if I stick my flashlight behind it, you can see the light shining through. And so there's some rate of water that it allows through the weave, so that you're not saturating your drive and getting runoff that way. So we're pretty excited. It'll let a little moisture through, and basically the purpose of this is to stabilize the rock, the gravel that goes on top. So typically in a driveway, what you'll have happen is the rock will be on the ground and it eventually just gets buried as cars go back and forth. So what the stabilization fabric is meant to do is to at least reduce the amount of loss, gravel loss, kind of spread the load or the weight load, and like it says, stabilize the driveway. So we're going to get this down today. I'm going to give it a few hours. It's probably going to be a late afternoon project. That's going to be the plan for the driveway fabric today. Then we're going to move up. Before that, we're going to move up to the top of the property to remove all the stumps, continue that project. And I can get that done this morning, and then early afternoon we'll go through laying the driveway fabric. All right, so we're almost there. It's tomorrow morning when the gravel comes, and we'll be sure to get that on record. All right, so here's what remains of the stumps, and it's actually still hours and hours later, it's still smoldering there. It did a decent job, all things considered. It did a decent job getting rid of the stumps. You can see some burnt out stumps there. The rest here, as they back up against this dead tree, those need to be addressed this morning. This dead tree needs to go, as does this one. There's another one back there. And all of those trees were killed when I burned the entire forest here, when I burned down the entire cleared area, the woods that we had cleared. So we're going to jump on these projects. Then I've got, you probably will have noticed some piles here. Those dirt piles, some of it will be used to backfill the house pad. It'll be a slightly elevated house pad. And the other pile will be used, if I have time. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but I may not get to it. But at some point I have to grade the septic area, kind of like the backyard area, and make sure that's graded fairly well before we drop in the septic system. All right, so we are going to jump on this and later lay the driveway fabric. Actually, before we get started today, let's take a walk down to this drop zone where we're dropping all the stumps so you can get an idea of how that's coming along. Alright, so here we are. Now this is quite, I don't know if you get a sense there, but it's quite a steep hill right down there. So right at this apex or point where it gets even more steep is where we focused on putting the stumps. So there you go behind us. It's a decent sized pile. It's a decent sized pile. It's maybe 30 feet wide almost already. And right there you can see, maybe you can see, maybe you can't, is the neighbor's fence post. So their property line is right here. They're not, I mean, they don't have any homes or anything. We're not disturbing them in any way, but it's right up against the property line and down the hill. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. Keep it in a place where we just don't frequent this part of the property right now. So I'll try to prevent it from becoming the dump zone. At least I think I'm okay with just natural materials, bringing natural materials out here. So yeah, there you go. All right, so things were going really incredibly well until, well, suddenly they weren't. We've got a little bit of an issue, more than a little bit of an issue. I messed up and broke the skid steer. So let me show you here. So this is some type of valve body for the hydraulics. Okay, clear here. So this is some kind of valve body for the hydraulics, and somehow I got something stuck here, like a log or some sort, or part of a stump got stuck here as I rose the bucket. Okay, and that's basically what that did. Is there used to be a bracket here that would have looked something like this. I could not find that. I don't know where that went. But that bracket is holding these hydraulic lines. This is the, I forget what it's called, the auxiliary, I think auxiliary hydraulics, so that you can connect you know, like a brush hog or something, and it'll have hydraulic power. So this bracket busted out under the pressure. These lines bent. This coupling, whatever that coupling is, was damaged. And that's leaking, pouring hydraulic fluid when I start it, and I don't want to burn out the motor. And then this sheet metal here, is supposed to look like this. So I screwed that up. So this is really, it's upsetting for me. It's going to be upsetting for the owner who's renting it to me, and it's just a really, really big disappointment. And so I'm going to have to call the owner and tell him exactly what's going on. Man, so this day was going well, and now it's not going well. I still have to get the fabric down. I'm left with a bunch of stumps. That's not a big deal, but this turns a $1,200 rental into who knows how much that's going to cost to fix. I'll know pretty soon. Anyway, I'm going to take a sec to collect myself and give this guy a call, and then start with the driveway.